Today is a project for crafters of all skill levels. And while it's going to be back to school inspired, don't click away, because the basic crafting skills I teach today you can use across multiple projects. So are you ready to learn all about Cricut? Great, let's get started.
First thing you do is you open Cricut Design Space. I start by clicking a new project. Now add text. So I'm going to just put that at the top right now. I don't really want that font in particular, but I am going to size it around the size that I need. And I may actually make it all caps. I'm going to see when I change the fonts what those look like. So I'm just kind of putting this right here for now. Next, I'm going to pull up that volleyball image. And place that inside of my design. And as you can see, it's kind of, if you look at the side guidelines here, the measurement is only about 4 inches. So I'm going to want it a little bit bigger for my vehicle. And I'll move it out here just a bit so I can work with it. And then I'm going to add some more text at the bottom. Okay, so I don't quite know if this is how I want it to look yet, but I do know that I want this to be a cut file, because we're going to be placing this with the adhesive side down, facing out on the back of my windshield, or the back window of my car. I want to change the font. So there are a whole slew of fonts that you can choose from, and here it is. It's called Big League, and I just want to click on it and it immediately transforms into the font that I want. So we're going to come back to that later. I'm now going to transform the second one. There may be other ways to do this, but now that I know the name of it, I can just type it in. Big League, click it, and there we have her name. Now it happens to be in red. This is a multi-layer image, so I really just want to make it a real clean and simple font. What would happen here normally, if you look, there would be one layer of, say, a yellow background that you would lay down, and then you would come over top of it with a second layer of vinyl. But we're just going to turn that off for now, and you can kind of see what it does to this font down here. When you turn off and on the design, it changes it just a bit. It makes it a little cleaner, and I think that's perfect for what it is that we're trying to go for. Okay, so let's say we want to curve this design around the outside of the volleyball. So very easy. You just take the curve tool and move it like this until it starts looking the way you want. And I've got a lot of weeding, which means removing of excess vinyl. The more complicated the design, the more vinyl you have to remove. But I think for this, it's going to be worth it because it will be personalized. So I'm going to make this go the other way until it starts looking the way I want. And I think that looks pretty great. So just to kind of size it up, it's approximately 8 inches by 9 inches, but I'm not so sure if that's going to be big enough for what I want to do with it. It will be great for the t-shirt, but you can make this design, edit it as you see fit. You can make copies of it and create different sizes for different projects. But right now, I think this is a really nice looking, clean design that's personalized, and you can't get much of this in Spiritwear when you just walk into the store at the local high school. So it's spaced out the way I want. I really like it. I think I'm going to make it just a bit bigger. So here's how I do that. I'm going to just capture this entire design and attach it. So now everything is one single cut. So when I cut this, it will be all the same color. Now, I could change the colors here, but just for the sake of this tutorial, we're gonna make it super simple. And I wanna just make it, say, around 10 inches, so it's a little easier to read. And there you go. So we made a really simple one layer design using Cricut vinyl. In this particular case, I'm going to apply this with the sticky side down, so I don't need to reverse the letters. And now all we need to do is make it for our first design. So I click Make It. And I can still move it around on the mat, but if you look at your actual mat, you can kind of see exactly where the cuts are going to start and stop. So you sort of want to size it wherever you place the vinyl. So let's just say we stuck it in the middle here. You'd want to make sure that the vinyl that you're using covers that entire area. If you're only using a small piece of vinyl, it's okay if it's around 9 inches wide by about 10 inches. I would say even 11 just to be safe so your blade doesn't go off the edge.
For this project, I placed the vinyl face up, so this side is placed down. So now we know that when we send this to the machine, it will just cut in this particular area and it won't be cutting over here. So let's send the design to the machine and watch it cut. You're going to hear the word weeding a lot. So what that really means in Cricut world is we're removing any of the vinyl that doesn't belong, leaving whatever vinyl it is that makes up our design. So I usually like to have kind of some paper towels or a plastic bag, and I'll test just to see how easy this is to lift. And this is the inside of the volleyball. And it's coming up beautifully. We need to use the transfer tape as a way to transfer this design from there to here, and then we transfer it over to our project. So the first thing I need to do is remove the back off of the transfer tape. Make sure it doesn't really touch anything, especially itself, because it will wrinkle and you really want a smooth piece of transfer tape over top. So I'm going to start at the bottom. It kind of has a little static cling to it, and just apply it very evenly over the top of this. And then now we want to make sure it's super adhesive, so I'm kind of burnishing it onto the transfer tape just to make sure there are no bubbles and shapes, so I'm not working with a lot of extra material. So I'm going to cut it around. It's coming off very nicely. Just go slow and make sure it's not taking any of the letters or parts of the volleyball with it. Looks beautiful. And now we are ready to put this on my car. I like to use rubbing alcohol, mainly because that's what I use when I apply any vinyls to mugs that I'm creating. And I know it works. In fact, I've run my mugs through the dishwasher and the permanent vinyl stays on really nicely. Okay, so our decal is ready to go. I'm sure moms, dads everywhere have done this as well as kids. I just want to make sure it's nice and even, and wherever it touches is where it's going to stay. Okay, looks good, and the heat doesn't hurt right now, to be honest. So I'm going to burnish this right in to the glass. Beautiful. My daughter will be so proud of me. There you go. Looks great. So let's just say you want to make this for a family member. This is a basic image transfer that you can use on signs, you can make labels, you can create mugs, and you can use it to create gifts during the holidays.
Another option, I modified the exact same design I just created and turned it into a t-shirt for myself using the Cricut Everyday iron-on.
Did you know that the Cricut Explore Air 2 can also draw your designs? That's right. So you can actually upload a design or even your own sketch and tell it to draw instead of cut. And then you can apply those designs as iron-ons onto your t-shirts. My Cricut paid for itself quickly. I actually made a few projects and sold them locally on Facebook Marketplace, and in no time the cost benefit was made up. So if you're worried about the cost, test out a few of these tutorials, make a sign, make something that's kind of cute for the holidays, get your crafting skills up to par, and pretty soon you might actually have your own little side business.